Well, recently we said Happy Valentine's Day to you. Today we are saying Happy President's Day to you.
Absolutely.
This should have been the lead-in to where I would be dressed as like either
Washington or
Lincoln,
Yeah.
and you would be
the other.
Hey,
Yeah.
you could bring back Rutherford B. Hayes.
I could, because I did portray him on a short film.
Short film, yeah.
That was done at one time.
When was that? Was that like 1980 something?
Yeah, Joy Golf was behind that. I think a gal by the name of Haley Rickey played Lucy. We never kissed or embraced or anything like that, honey, if you're watching at home. Honey being my wife.
Not that we know of.
Yeah, but that was a lot of fun. I think the video is still out there somewhere. And I've never seen it. I've never seen it, the finished product.
It's got to be on YouTube now, I would think.
Well,
Whoever put it
think,
together.
yeah.
So we'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
We have to do a search. Mike Smith as Rutherford B. Hayes.
I had a lot more hair in those days. Now, Joy always claimed that I look like Rutherford, but I've seen pictures of him with his beard and all, and I don't see the resemblance, but oh well.
Perhaps you need a beard.
Glad I could help.
The good old days of acting, as it were. Welcome to the program. We just got off on a sidetrack there, and that's usually how we do it. That's people who enjoyed our radio show seem to like it when we strayed off topic.
Yeah, it was the stuff you said off topic or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully we have maintained that integrity for those of you who have watched us before over the years. Thank you for joining us. On this Monday, we are looking at a temperature later this week in the mid-70s. Is that right?
I'm almost afraid to say it because the next day it's like 30 degrees difference. So.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's been the last 3 Thursdays, counting this coming Thursday. But today, mostly cloudy, high of 57. There's a slight chance of rain early this evening, like between 6 and 8 o'clock. Then tomorrow, sunny and 52. Rain and 66 on Wednesday and 73 on Thursday. Friday, it drops right back down into the 40s. So enjoy that warm Thursday like we've had the last few weeks.
Anything to keep the head colds going.
Yeah.
I guess is the way to look at it. Had a message from a friend yesterday talking about, and she's got, I think, 6 young ones that are under the age of 8. And she said the kids have been sick from Thanksgiving to today. They one gets over it, the other one gets it, and so on and so forth. And about the only suggestion I had was wait for a good day and open those windows and try and let the home air out a little bit.
I think I read one time that the common cold, because there's different strains out there, that the average person gets almost a dozen colds a year. So no wonder it feels like it just keeps going. So,
yeah, I thought I'd turned the corner the other day, and then 2 days later, it's like it's back again.
Yeah, another strain comes to visit. Yeah.
Well, we're here to talk about the good things, and we've got some good things to share with you coming up in relation to news, also sports. There is a Pickaway County connection to yesterday's Daytona 500 winner. It just totally blew me away. We'll explain that coming up. And this date in history, we go back to...
I have to make sure because I was working on tomorrow's already. 1792.
Okay, so back to the early days of America.
Of Dan and Mike's show.
Yeah, that'd be something if we had that kind of longevity, right?
Yeah, right.
Perhaps when we're all dead and gone, we've made enough impression that people will come back and watch this show.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, we'll see.
I'm not counting on it, but maybe they will. All right, just ahead, a look at news. But first, we want to tell you about our friends at McDonald's. Coming up Wednesday, it is open interview time with your local McDonald's. 4 locations here in Chillicothe, 1 in Circleville, over in Greenfield, and 1 down in Waverly, too. 2 until 5 every Wednesday, your chance to meet and talk with the manager.
I was going to get a McFlurry when I came through Greenfield yesterday, and the line was so long at 2:30 in the afternoon, I said, I'll just go home.
That's because they were all there getting the Shamrock Shake.
Very well could
which
be.
is now available, too. So make sure you stop in to McDonald's, get something for lunch today. Let's see, it just started at 11 o'clock, so yeah, it's lunchtime.
Yeah.
Think about breakfast tomorrow as well, and dinner tonight at McDonald's.
I'm loving it.
Coming up News next.
Big yards, small yards, hilly yards, silly yards. Every yard is unique, and every yard, no matter how much you love it, can be uniquely frustrating to mow. That's why Country Clipper is designed to tackle any obstacle imaginable. It's the perfect mower for even the most imperfect yard. Country Clipper, engineered for easy.
Hi, I'm Dave Pinkerton with Advanced Services Heating and Cooling, your local heating and cooling expert. If you want quality service, quality installation, give Advanced Services a call, 740-773-4499.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar, full Budweiser flavor. For all the moments you want a beer and need to stay on your game. Budweiser Zero, zero compromise.
We start things off with news. A little something happened during the commercial break.
Which goes back to the old radio days as well.
Yes. Where are we starting with news here before we get too off track?
The Chillicothe VA Medical Center hosts a weekly hiring fair, and that happens every Wednesday from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the Chillicothe VA campus, Building 9. Now, these weekly hiring events focus mainly on screening applicants for 3 positions: nursing assistant, licensed nurse practitioner, and registered nurse. However, this coming Wednesday, the nursing recruitment program will also be reviewing resumes for advanced medical support assistance vacancies. And if you go to our website, story@littermedia.com, you can learn more. The Ohio State Highway Patrol has announced the recipients of their 2022 Leadership Awards. The ceremony recognizes dozens of state and district award winners for their valuable contributions to our state and communities. Well, retired dispatcher Heather Duncan of the Jackson District was recently selected as Distinguished Retiree of the Year. Duncan founded a nonprofit named Christmas Smiles in conjunction with the Ross County Sheriff's Office. The program is dedicated to helping families with working guardians struggling to provide Christmas gifts for their kids and dinner for the families. She's also been instrumental in the local organization called Be Here to Be Heard. This is a new support program for Ross and surrounding counties for the people that suffer from hearing loss. We salute Heather.
And Heather has been involved with the Sheriff's Department a number of years, but also through the State Patrol. In fact, I called to report a deer strike one night, and she says, "Is this Dan Ramey?" And I said, "Yeah." And she told me who it was. I'm like, she was working the Jackson Post that night. But we introduced our Litter Media audience to Heather back 2017 or 18. We did a little something on childhood diabetes. She's been a severe diabetic throughout her life, and so we got a chance to get to know Heather a little bit better. And then she was part of that Eastern Kentucky flood relief that we did last year as well. So
sounds like a lady that likes to help other people.
You betcha.
Congratulations to Heather on that honor. Kind of another follow-up to the East Palestine story that we talked about late last week. The Pike County Health District has been in contact with Pike Water, Waverly Water, Village of Piketon, Village of Beaver, and Scioto Water concerning the East Palestine contamination situation. Now, each of these entities pull water directly from wells connected to the Teays Valley underground aquifer for Pike County customers, not the Ohio River and not any surface water system. So for this reason, there is little concern of negative impact on the quality or safety for drinking water in Pike County. And that pretty much has been echoed in some of the surrounding counties. Now, this map that you see, that's what is an appropriate route of ancient Teays River. A lot of people that have lived here most of their lives have heard of that, and it still exists, and a lot of our groundwater comes from that source.
That's where Mom and Dad's well water came from when I was a kid, and I still have yet to taste water like what we had at home. I'll still go to my grave saying that was the best water I've ever drank in my life.
Not because you went to Teays Valley High
Not
School.
Not because of that at all. But you can see, this takes us back to the conversations we used to have with Dick Rutherford as we're getting ready for the 100th anniversary of Camp Sherman several years back. He was telling us that one of the main reasons they selected Chillicothe was because of the Teays River aquifer.
Yeah.
So
A lot of history there, and that thing is, it's ancient, but it's still providing water for our area. Earthquakes in Ohio. Well, there are many quakes registered in Ohio, most very small tremors. But the Ohio Division of Geological Survey coordinates a 21-station network of seismograph stations throughout the state in order to continuously record earthquake activity. Ohio's seismic network is an advanced and modern seismic network that will give Ohio the ability to monitor and detect earthquakes all over the state as well into the future. The Ohio size stations are distributed across the state, but are concentrated in mostly seismically active areas or in areas that provide optimal conditions for detecting, locating small earthquakes. Now, the basis for this story is you may not even be aware that this happens, but some of you who may be as old as Dan and I, you may have felt the earthquake here in Ohio from time to time. And where this is so important is whether you realize it or not, if your property or your home is damaged by one of these quakes and you don't have earthquake insurance, your insurance won't cover it. So yes, check with your insurance agent to make sure you have the adequate insurance needed in case we ever do have a earthquake or a quake that's sizable enough to cause any structural damage.
I don't recall ever experiencing one or feeling it, so to speak. My dad, I was on the phone one day talking to a friend, and my dad came and he says, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Jumping around and everything. He said, "I didn't jump around." And then we heard there was an earthquake.
Yeah. There was one here several months back in the Manchester area of Ohio that was felt. I can remember one Sunday afternoon. This is when Laura and I had, we hadn't been married that long. It was a Sunday afternoon. We were taking a nap.
This is where the earth moved for Mike Smith.
I wanted to qualify we were married.
Later would come Sarah Smith.
And I was just lying on the couch, and it just felt like the house was shaking. And I woke up, and I said, "Did I dream that, or did you feel that?" And come to find out,
it's
there
our
was.
Love, Mike.
Yeah, there was a small earthquake that day. And you might remember the one that caused some damage to the Washington Monument, which will be in the news here later on.
Yeah.
That was also felt in parts of Ohio that day, not too many years ago.
I'm still sold on the fact it was newlyweds.
Never mind. Let's move on. Tyler Christopher and his live band return to the Highland County Senior Citizen Center for their Elvis Presley Ultimate Tribute Show benefit event March 25th at 7 p.m. Now, limited tickets are on sale now for this popular annual fundraising event. I was just talking to Michelle Carnes, who runs the district yesterday, or the Senior Citizen Center, and she said they've already sold out their front row.
Oh, my.
This has been a huge event in Highland County for many years, and she said, and there's people from all over different counties that come to this thing.
I'm picturing the size of the granny panties being thrown up on the stage from that front row.
Yeah, really. So if you want to get over and see this Elvis tribute event, you can buy tickets at the HighlandSeniors.com website or in person at the Highland County Senior Citizen Center in Hillsboro. White Gravel Mines presents the Easter Cave. Experience the journey of Christ like never before. Join them for their third annual Easter Cave event and walk through the tunnels that bring the story of Christ to life. This event is perfect for families with little ones who want to experience Easter in a meaningful way. Now, the Easter Cave is open March 24th, 25th, and 31st, then again April 1st, 7th, and 8th. And you said you've been to the White Gravel Mines?
I have not.
Oh, you have not.
I need to get down there. We had the gentleman who owns this at our church here this past, I think it was before the Christmas cave that they had. And got to get down and see this. Now, pay attention to March 24th and April 1st. It's my understanding that if you have difficulty walking, they have volunteers who will put you in like this little sulky type thing, and they will walk you through, and you get to ride through the mines. So if you have, like I say, difficulty with maneuverability, those early dates are usually when they do that. So.
And what county is this?
This is Scioto County.
Scioto County.
Yeah, down near Memphis.
So check that. I'm sure you can Google and get all the information that you need from them.
I think most of their stuff is on Facebook.
Gotcha. And finally, starting with Medicaid renewals due in April of this year, Ohio Medicaid will resume its routine eligibility and enrollment operations. Now, that means that all eligible Medicaid members We're not talking about Medicare, although you can see that both are operated here in Ohio by CMS. We're talking about Medicaid. All Medicaid members will need to have their Medicaid coverage renewed if you live here in the state of Ohio. Okay, and that's your topics for today.
Topics done. Complete. Check. Coming up, we've got sports, and there is a Pickaway County tie to the Daytona 500. I was just floored when I saw this last night, and I'm like, how did I miss this? We'll explain coming up in sports, and a look at tournament action as well, a preview as well as a review of what happened over the weekend. So that's all just ahead. But first, I want to tell you about Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, your trusted comfort advisor. They are there to make sure you feel comfortable in your home. Give them a call by clicking on this ad anywhere you see it at littermedia.com. It'll show you all of their services and where they take you to, or where they will bring their equipment to help make you feel comfy in your home. Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
It's the details that make the difference between good enough and simply the best. At Skag Power Equipment, the difference is in designing lawnmowers with your convenience and comfort in mind. At Skag, we believe that quality and substance matter, and that you'll appreciate the attention to detail and craftsmanship we put into every single product. Thick steel and heavy-duty components provide you with unmatched reliability and performance. Skag, simply the best.
This is Big Chillicothe. Horizon's 100% fiber internet service is coming to your area. Call 740-772-8331 or visit horizonconnects.com/Chillicothe to sign up today.
We just wanted to give this a little extra publicity. That plus I pushed the wrong button again.
That's okay.
That's how it goes. That's how birds fly, right?
That's how birds fly.
Sports.
Yeah, busy Saturday. 22 area high school basketball teams, girls and boys, were involved in tournament play over the weekend. There's what happened in Division I. Tays Valley over Chile. Dublin Kaufman beat Lancaster. Bloom Carroll beat London. And Hamilton Township in Eastmore, Division II. And on the Division III side...
Oops, wrong one. Sorry.
Yeah, you just shortened the list. There we go. Adena, Leesburg, Fairfield, Portsmouth West, Southeast. That was an upset. Southeastern knocking off the higher seed Eastern Brown. Lynchburg, Clay, North Adams, Minford, Wheelersburg, Chesapeake, Nelsonville, York, Portsmouth, and Rock Hill, all winners. Division IV out of Central Ohio. Bern Union, these girls are something. Look at that score, 47-6 over Fairfield Christian. And Lancaster Fisher Catholic roughed up Delaware Christian 67-17.
You know, I was looking through the brackets, and there were probably close to 10 games in which the opponent only scored 6 points.
Yeah.
5 points. I think there was another one that was 4 points.
Right.
And that's tough to swallow.
Thank the Lord for the continuous clock in the second half. But I think Bern Union and Fisher Catholic are on a collision course as far as upcoming tournament play.
Yes.
Now, more tournament games on tap for tonight. Here's what the schedule looks like. Division II district semis at Logan High School. Undefeated Fairland takes on Circleville. Fairfield Union against Marietta. At Piketon High School, it's Unietta New Lex and Sheridan Athens. The winners of those two brackets meet each other on Friday in the championship. Division III out of the Central District, Afrocentric against Liberty Union. Worthington Christian takes on Amanda Clear Creek. And Division IV boys, you can see the matchups there. So all of that will be tracked. I was looking at some other websites on Saturday. Nobody had more games that they were tracking than littermedia.com. So come to us for those results.
It's Mike's way of saying I was busy.
We were busy. Now, in other sports, the Southeast District Boys and Girls Bowling Tournament is underway right now as we speak at Shawnee Lanes in Chillicothe. We'll have some results on that later tonight. Also, over the weekend, the swimming qualifiers were completed. We'll have something later in the week on who all qualified for the state tournament. Winter sports still underway, but spring sports practice starts today. That's baseball, softball, track, boys tennis, and the whole lot.
Lacrosse.
Busy time.
Girls lacrosse.
Busy time of year. Oh, do we have to talk about this? Ohio State. What is that? 13 or 14 they've lost? 8 in a row.
They were, 3-15, I believe, in Big Ten play.
Yeah. Purdue put it on them yesterday, 82-55. The women's team, they play tonight. And
you've got an opportunity to fight through the Big Ten tournament, but because you'll probably be one of the early seeded teams to play early, you got to play an extra game if you want to make it to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's
good
gonna
luck.
be a tough road to hoe.
when that comes around. The CBJ, they played yesterday. They lost.
And
to
they've
the
been playing
Coyotes.
well the last week.
Yeah. Well, at least they beat Toronto twice. If they can play Toronto every day, they,
Well,
be
they
great.
played someone else and picked up a win. And so then here, this was one of those last moment goals. And earlier in the week, they had someone scored with 2 seconds left in regulation to win.
Yeah.
So
This was out in Phoenix last night, Lewin. And the Daytona 500, you had the scoop on that.
yeah, you see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. there hoisting the big trophy for winning the Daytona 500. This is the picture that you'll see on NASCAR.com today. Notice the young lady in the blue dress right there. This is that Pickaway County tie that I was teasing you with. Here they are. They're celebrating having picked up the win there in Victory Lane. And then Ricky comes back over, and there she is again. All right. Who is this girl? Well, it floored me. I was looking through Facebook after I got home from church last night, and she captured my eye because people were saying congratulations to Lynn, who was DeFelice when I went to high school with her, and Lynn Goodflesh is her name now, and this is Madison Goodflesh. She and Ricky are husband and wife. I didn't even notice this when I saw this wedding photo back in December.
How about
That is Madison. I didn't pay attention to the guy. I just thought, he's a good-looking guy. But look, Lynn's got her hand right on his arm. She's just, and there's Dad on the other side of the beautiful bride. And I'm like, that's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. She
that?
married Ricky Stenhouse Jr.,
How about that?
who happened to win the Daytona 500 yesterday. And so I messaged Lynn, and I said, how did I miss this? You must be beside yourself. And she said, we are. Thank you. And it was just amazing. So very proud mother and
I can
father-in-law
imagine.
there.
Yeah.
And, of course, Asheville's had the racing tie before, thanks to the
Sarah.
young lady. Sarah was
Fisher?
Sarah Fisher, and she had dirt track experience here. Ricky was a dirt track racer. I don't know that he's ever been here at Atomic. He may have, but so I don't even know how they hooked up. I don't know how they got connected in some fashion. But that I thought was pretty cool.
Maybe the go-kart races in Commercial Point.
Could be too. But my jaw dropped. I'm like, you're kidding me. This is so. Lynn was a year behind me in high school, and it's just I'm still floored. And I sent the picture to my son, the wedding photo, and I said, recognize anybody in this photo? He goes, looks like Ricky Stenhouse Jr. What's this all about? And he said, the girl next to him holding his arm. I went to school with her. So that was pretty neat. So congratulations. I think I may have found a new favorite driver.
There you go.
So we'll see how it goes when they go to Las Vegas next, I think, something like that. All right, just ahead, this date in history, as Mike says, we're taking the Litter Media Wayback Machine to the 1700s. So get ready to ride the horse, I guess, to get there. All right, let's tell you about Pickaway Ross CTC Adult Education Center. They currently have a law enforcement class that are starting to gain traction, get some interest in law enforcement. So if you have that interest, they're looking for you. They're doing recruiting.
And all you have to do to sign up is give them a call, 642-1384.
Or click on this ad at littermedia.com. It will take you to the Pickaway Ross CTC website where you can learn more about their adult education courses.
At Rathkamp Financial, we believe in building client relationships for the long term, guiding you through the stages of wealth with a plan and bringing you closer to reaching your financial dreams. We believe in long-term relationships and working to earn your continued trust with our customized investment solutions.
For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
If sweat is your body's natural way of cooling itself down, then condensation is a beer's natural way of saying, drink me. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer.
If you've got a need to get rid of a bunch of stuff and you need a dumpster, give a call to Scioto Valley Dumpsters at 740-253-8389. Carl and his crew will come by. They'll drop off this dumpster, and they've got different sizes of dumpsters. You can rent it for different amounts of time, too, to get that project done. And then they'll just come back and haul it all away for you. Job is done.
I like that.
Thanks to Scioto Valley Dumpsters. 740-253-8389. Before we get into this date in history, I want to take a moment to say hi to the folks watching today. A number of you have been popping up on my phone here, and that includes Debbie Levy, I think is how we pronounce that name, Brian Sparks, Ruth Ann Preparo, Rodney Campbell, Louise Daly. I don't see Aunt Ruth watching today.
I just found out yesterday she's been a little under the weather.
Is that
I'm
right?
not sure what the story is there.
Thoughts are with you today, Aunt Ruth. And also, Mark Johnson, Ohio Representative Mark Johnson.
Mark Johnson.
Who was at the Daytona 500 yesterday. He and I were conversing back and forth about that. So
he didn't offer you go down,
did
share
not
time with him?
He decided to go down with his wife.
I can understand
which
that.
which is highly important. But they had a blast, and they had perfect weather for it too.
I remember former Ross County Commissioner Don Arledge, who was also a small plane pilot. Don would fly down there. I don't know how many years he did that, but he would go down to the Daytona 500 by plane, flying down himself. So.
Yesterday they had the Thunderbirds were flying, and while they were tearing down the stage of the presentation and everything, because they always have this concert and they have the drivers walk out and they've got a bunch of fans down inside the area there, the pit area, and so while they were tearing that down, I guess the Thunderbirds entertained for 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool to see some of that. So
I don't know if they're based out of Pensacola, Florida, or somewhere near there. Not sure about that.
I can't tell you.
They've had a naval air station down there for probably more than half a century.
So this date in history.
1792, President George Washington signs legislation renewing the United States Post Office as a cabinet department led by the Postmaster General, guaranteeing inexpensive delivery of all newspapers, stipulating the right to privacy, and granting Congress the ability to expand postal service to new areas of the nation. Now, the post office had been around, actually, for years, with Benjamin Franklin serving as the first Postmaster General under the Continental Congress beginning in July of 1775, nearly 1 year before Congress declared independence from the British Crown. But again, it was this date in 1792 that the president, at that time Washington, makes the post office a cabinet department. And that's a former, I don't know if that's the image from 1792, but I think that one goes back about 100 years or so.
I was wondering if they happen to have some post that is still in that cabinet that you were talking about.
Post?
Mail.
I think I heard a story.
I know you meant the president's cabinet,
Yeah.
but I wonder if the president had a cabinet that still has some,
I think I
some mail in
heard
it.
a story yesterday morning on Gordon Deal's show that a letter just recently arrived 100 years after it was sent. Now, that's not intended to be besmirch the post office. Sometimes things happen, but that's a long time. That is real snail mail.
You're
100
right.
years, yeah.
That's like finding something that was put in a bottle, and it gets washed away. Let's send this down and see what happens to it. And the other day when the water was up in the creek from all the rain that we'd had, we were getting into the car to make a trip here with baby Amelia. And I had shown her the creek, how powerful it looked. All that small creeks were just rushing. And I said, how about if we put something in a bottle, put it in there, and let it float down? And she's just like, yeah.
What are you doing that for?
At 4
Grandpa?
years old, you don't understand why Grandpa's saying things like that.
But did you say that maybe somebody would open it on the other end? And
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the rest. I didn't want to go into that today.
She still thought it was a dumb idea, basically.
Yeah, I think she did. She was like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go play. Not in the water, not when it's rushing the way it is.
Yeah.
Man, that was so fast, it would have washed her away.
Oh,
so
too many stories like that.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a circumstance like that?
Actually, in the ocean, got caught up in a riptide.
Right.
And I thought I was not. I mean, it was like waist high, but it was so strong, I didn't think I was going to make it back in. So we did.
We had some
Obviously we did.
some torrential rains in the mid-'90s down on the farm, and I was walking the property line to make sure because we had barbed wire fence everywhere, and just trying to make sure everything was still in place. And while I was doing that, I had coveralls on. All right, so I'm walking through. And Molly, the dog, was going with me, and there was a point where there's some water. All these little creeks all come together, but they become big creeks, and they're flowing into the Morgan's Fork Creek. And I knew I could walk across this, but when I did, I put my foot down, and it took me under because of the speed of the water coming through there. And I went underwater, and so did Molly. And I was able to get a hold of her, and then I had a sermon out of all this too.
Wow.
Because I thought to myself, it was in an instant as I came back to myself and I started walking the rest of the line in this heavy coverall that was just waterlogged. I thought, how much relief I had when I unzipped it and took the heavy weight off, and if you're an evangelical, you know where I'm going with that. And so it was on a Sunday afternoon, and then I showed up at church, and that became the testimony for the night.
Wow.
So,
well, that rushing water, we've told you many times, even with vehicles, don't drive. I think I've read where it can take only 4 to 5 inches of strong rushing water to pick up a vehicle and move it. So
that's serious hydroplaning right there. If you can hydroplane in this much water, imagine what 4 to 5 inches would do.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
All right. Any radio?
I'm thinking that popped in my head when I worked the early morning gig at the radio station for however many, 30-some years. I was the one that oftentimes would go to the post office first thing in the morning because there would be news releases. This is before email got to be big. And there was one morning I went into the post office. This would have probably been 5:30 in the morning. And I heard what I thought was cheeping. Cheep, 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 cheep. And it was like many.
Like a chirp?
Well, yeah. And one of the gals that I'd become friends with there that worked at her, I said, what is that sound? And she says, baby chicks. Because it was, I don't know if they still do this or not.
When they delivered the chicks?
They were mailing baby chicks. And it was like, over the years, I would hear this many more times, but I thought, that is odd. What is that? Yeah, we're mailing the baby chicks. So things that your career takes you through, you just don't expect. So, yeah.
And that's where you'd have your morning meetings with Dave Smith. You'd see each other at the post office.
A lot of times, yeah. 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 See
Okay.
Dave down there quite often.
All right. That's a look at what's going on today. We're back at it again tomorrow. Do we have any special editions coming up this week?
Not until Friday morning.
For you?
Yes.
Okay.
Stacy, Saunders, Adams will be. We talked on the news last week about this 2-day addiction prevention conference at Ohio University Chillicothe. She'll be in to talk about that this coming Friday morning at about 10 o'clock.
We've got Marie Wilbanks coming in
Wednesday morning to
Wednesday.
Pickaway County.
And Wednesday afternoon, a late afternoon at 4 o'clock, Lori Graves will be here to talk about things going on at the Majestic Theaters. So that's all coming up this week in regards to special editions. So thank you for watching our regular edition. It is back again tomorrow at 11. You will be here because I will be at the Chillicothe Intermediate School.
It's possible we may be a little later than 11. I have to go to a just routine doctor's wellness exam, so we might be a little later than 11 getting on. But if
we will be involved with science tomorrow, you'll be at the doctor, and I will be with kids at the intermediate science fair.
Well, maybe you can bring us back pictures. I don't know that I'll bring back any pictures of what my experience will be.
Please don't. Could you turn your head and cough, please? Just as I snap this picture.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for the show. Back at it again tomorrow with Mike Smith. Hopefully he'll not be sitting there in a gown or anything. He'll be wearing what he has
I guess I could do the show remotely, yeah.
You could do that. That would be interesting. I would not recommend it, though.
No.
But then again, it may
the audience may
the views.
soar, yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow here with another edition of Litter Media Live.